Welcome to All Pro Football Data. My name is Jim Coburn, and today's episode we're talking about Jalen Coker, wide receiver out of Holy Cross. We're going to be looking at his data profile to see how he projects as a player. We're going to look at athleticism data, his production data, and just other things like that to kind of determine where he might go and what his ultimate upside might be based on his overall data profile. Coker is the all-time leader in touchdown receptions and receiving yards at Holy Cross, and it's definitely a very interesting prospect based on his film. I've seen some tape of him, and I think he's a very accomplished route runner. Also went to the Senior Bowl and did pretty well there as well. So let's get into his overall profile. In terms of offensive market share, you can pause video real quick to get an idea about this metric, but when you look at his offensive market share production, he had a 95 percentile receiving market share production score, 75 percentile in terms of total offensive market share, and then he had a 88 percentile in terms of his touchdown market share. These numbers are great numbers for a wide receiver to have. They pretty much hit between the All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and starter ranges for what you kind of expect out of a wide receiver. So good numbers there for him in those particular areas. When you look at efficiency scores for him, he did have good efficiency. Now, again, it was against lesser competition. That's another thing I just want to preface you guys or kind of get you guys to get on your mind is that these numbers are good, but these weren't exactly against SEC competition. But he did at least show some good efficiency at his level of competition. He was close to 80 percentile in terms of his yards per reception. He also was in the high 90 percentile area of his touchdowns per touch. So these are good numbers to have for a wide receiver. Pretty much hit above the starter average, Pro Bowl average, and All Pro average of what you're looking at for the position. Now, when you look at his athleticism testing, there was some interesting stuff there to say, very much so. He had a 97 percentile explosion score, and then he had a 59 percentile speed score for his size. Still haven't seen the flexibility testing for him, but these are very good numbers, guys, in terms of his athleticism traits. In many ways, he tested like a faster version of Keon Coleman in this particular draft class. So in a way, if you just look at athleticism as just a similar trait, so if this wide receiver has the same athleticism, then he has the same potential, then you could say that Coker has about as much athletic potential as Keon Coleman does at the NFL level. So from that perspective, I think that's a pretty good thing to say or mark up about him. Now, when you get to his adjusted production score, this is where things kind of fall apart a little bit for Coker because, again, his level of competition is probably the biggest thing that really holds him back. He had a 66 percentile age score, 30 percentile in terms of his MSA rating, and then 72 percentile in terms of his pass rating. Again, the pass rating deals with like the overall production scores plus efficiency, and the MSA rating takes the efficiency scores out. So when you actually isolate him for his level of competition, for his production, he didn't really do that well in that particular area. He would have to be an outlier in many ways to become, say, a Pro Bowl or high quality outcome type player, which is what you would usually expect from a lower level division wide receiver. Unless they just blow it out of the park, 90 plus percentile in terms of every single metric that you're thinking about at that particular arena, you typically have to do that to even be considered a starter level player at the next level in a lot of ways because just of how much different that level of competition is compared to the NFL and of course even compared to college football in general in terms of the FBS. But that's kind of the concerns is his level of competition. He's not exactly the youngest prospect either. These are things that definitely are concerning for him. Now, in terms of comparisons for him, these are all the wide receivers that tested very similar to Jalen Coker based on his production profile. Dewan Woods, Hank Baskett, Devontae Davis, Terrence Williams, Emory Blake, Peerless Price. A lot of different wide receivers definitely are on this list. And again, a lot of why he is as low as he is because of his level of competition. Those are the biggest things that are pushing his grade down in many ways, is that level of competition for him. So that's definitely kind of the concern for him. Now, in terms of outlook, I would say Jalen Coker profiles as a backup to Pro Bowl outlier long term. Most wide receivers with this profile tend to either become backups to spot starters. Coker's issues are increased due to his FCS status. However, Coker has the athleticism and overall profile to find a place in the NFL as a starter. So you have to kind of take that risk with him. There's usually a lot less lower level division wide receivers becoming starters in the NFL, even though they were productive at that level of competition. So you kind of have to understand that, a lot of times it's hard to kind of tell how that's going to translate. The NFL is faster. And he does have NFL athleticism, which is a positive for him. But again, that is just going to be the concern about translation. If he can translate his high quality production from the FCS level to the NFL level, I think he'll do well. If he does what most wide receivers do with this profile, he's mainly just going to be a backup to spot starter who gets you excited every now and again in the preseason. I hope that's not the case, but that's definitely the main concern with him from a data perspective. But with all that stuff out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jim Coburn. You can also find my other work on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Geometrics. You can also check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/jcoburn. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as well. Hit the bell notification so that you're always reminded when another video of mine comes out. And I will see you guys in the next one, guys. Peace.